K. Cooper Ray is Mr. Charleston. From bow ties to social media to television to books to being a man around town. I sit down one-on-one with K. Cooper for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores.
Well, K. Cooper Ray.
Oh, we live. You got me sitting up. Hello.
I try to be professional, you know what I mean? Oh my God.
Yes, sir. Call me Cooper.
Okay, Cooper, yeah, man. You know, I went back to your Instagram profile and it says this: MC, host, TV personality, style, design, etiquette, director of protocol, City of Charleston, and a busybody of Charleston Village.
I just changed busybody.
Really?
I did have Lord and Master. But I figured I'd poke enough people. I changed it to busybody.
Who else is Cooper these days?
Oh, who else is Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who else. I think I don't know who'd want to be. I don't think many people could walk in these shoes.
Only one you.
Yeah, they are. I take a lot of risks, and I put myself out into a lot of positions fearlessly, and that is because many reasons. I feel passionately about a lot of things. I have a lot of opinions. Most of the time, I think I'm the smartest person in the room. Not now today, of course. But also, I don't have I'm not an elected official.
Right.
I'm not tied to a corporation.
Right.
I don't have children in a school that could be embarrassed for me. It's just me and my dogs.
Oh.
So I'm a completely free agent, and I may not be. Who knows where that goes? I mean, when I was at Brooks Brothers,
Yes.
as a spokesperson for them, I was very much a part of that restrictive corporate culture from a treasured brand, and I had to be careful about what I said. So when that contract ended in 2013, I really, the combination, we're to ramble right into the next subject, right?
Oh, go for it.
The combination of the freedom from the constraints of working at Brooks Brothers, which just was public. It was a great opportunity for me, and it really put me in a different kind of space as far as my employment, as far as my work, as far as my recognition.
Sure.
I mean, it was a great part of my career and my education and my blah blah. But the sort of intersection of leaving Brooks Brothers and starting Southern Charm really became a potent mix of just don't give a damn. I was going to say other words.
Okay.
This is a family. But you know, I've come full circle from being a very conservative, private citizen. I mean, up until, my gosh, maybe up until just, the last decade, I always kept a pristine record because, I'm from Alabama.
Right.
I was very politically involved when I was younger, and I always, my go-to was I will return to Alabama and be I will spend my last days as the senator from Alabama. So I always kept a really squeaky clean record.
Okay.
This was, thank goodness, before Facebook and phones
Right.
that you can hide in your phone, and cameras that you can hide in your
Right.
phone. Like I was always very, you don't need to take a picture of this party, and then certainly when videos, I was like, why are you videotaping? I was very, and in fact, before I started my blog in 2006, Social Primer, I was very proud of the fact that I was ungoogleable. I mean, I was really kept my privacy. I'm full circle now. I am the poster child for letting it hang out now.
Did Southern Charm help you to unmask your privacy?
Yes, it very, very much did. It did. It was up until maybe, wow. I mean, I had people don't believe this that know me now, but I say through this this past moving to Charleston, I think has really been the switch, and I moved here full time in 2010.
Right.
That was right when I started the Brooks Brothers collaboration. I had been in LA and I kept wanting to get to Charleston, and I kept, but even when I was in New York or in Italy or wherever, I always wanted to work and live in Charleston. But there was no work here for me. And even, I remember interviewing at Spoleto to come back and just the disparity of the money that I was making for Dom Perignon and Bottega Veneta compared to what I would make at a nonprofit. I was like, that's embarrassing. Now I know I could live on half that. Because the cost of living in Charleston is so low, but anyway, I could never get here, so I decided finally in 2010 that I didn't want to die in Charleston. I wanted to live in Charleston, and I feel like I just made it back under the wire to get a taste of the pre-revolution.
Right. You right about that.
But so, going on Southern Charm, first of all, when you see yourself on television, and not in a movie, and not on the news, but in a reality situation, you see who you are. And that's why when people will say, oh, they edited me at this, they edited me that, and it's like, Cameron Wimberly now, what's her name on the show? Eubanks. Yeah. She was one of the reasons that I did it. I had known Whitney, and he wanted me to be on, and I declined first season, and then Patricia wanted me to come on. But Patricia's want was self-serving because, her son was a producer. Right. So I always took what she said with a grain of salt. But Cameron was very real, and we had lunch or coffee with like 2 or 3 times, and I would say, I won't do this and I won't do that, and she said, then you shouldn't go on the show because the audience knows if you're not being real. Sure. And the thing about it is they can't use anything that you don't say, and they can't use anything that you don't do. And so that was like a revelation to me. Because people are so afraid of reality television, and they think there's, a hidden camera somewhere, and it's not that way with Bravo, as you've experienced. Right. the sign-off legal is very big and dotted and crossed. So there's no hidden sabotage that exists. It's you. So when you come in and you see it, here was my experience with Southern Charm. Season 2, I went in completely guarded, and no, I won't do that. No, I won't do that. Cut! I'm not doing that. And they would come out. They're hiding in a corner, in a room over there, and they come out and they're like, Cooper, you can't cut a scene. You can't look and break the fourth wall. And that's when I said, this is not Shakespeare, sweetie. This is my house. Right. And she's not going to come in here and make me look like a chump in my house. So either do it again and she acts right, or you don't use that scene. And that's the trick. If you ever do reality TV, just look in the camera and go, bravo, bravo, bravo. And they can't use it.
Can't use it. Wow.
So my experience with it was so guarded and not fun filming, but surprised and relieved and actually enjoyed what I saw on television. Wow. And so when I went back for season 3, it was the reverse. I had so much fun in filming and was really looking forward to growing with the show, and that's when Patricia gave me the fatwa, and had me cut out of scenes and wouldn't film with me, and basically, really hurt my storyline. And she'll deny it to this day, but it's true. Hand to God. So I had enough. Wow. I had enough. So I'm very I don't know if proud is a word that you use with it, but I'm never ashamed or embarrassed by anything that I ever did on Southern Charm.
Wow.
I stood by what I believe in. I stood by the people that I believed in. I said what I thought.
Right.
And I feel like I was treated fairly by the network. And the fans is another story. So that's the other side of the thing, because you've filmed the show.
Right.
And then it comes out on television. And then you have Twitter light up.
Right.
And they call you the most horrible things. The Twitter waterheads, that hide in anonymity. They will say the most awful things about you, and you get burned or anointed really quick. You learn right away. Never Google your name. never search your name on Twitter.
Right.
It's because some people are brave enough to tag you on Twitter, like K. Cooper Ray is, a whatever. And then you can go back and say, oh, thanks, or who are you? Or, yeah. But the people that don't tag you, that are saying, oh, this Cooper looks like Ichabod Crane got soaked in some vinegar, you're like, ah! you read the most horrible things. So I learned very quickly not to do that.
Wow.
And it's exhausting. The filming of it is a rigorous schedule, and then when it comes out, one of the successes of Southern Charm, I believe, is because the cast is so active on social media, and that's exhausting because you've already gone through this thing that people are now just seeing 6 months later.
Yeah.
People still stop me. I stopped yesterday going into the Gilliard, like, oh, are you gonna be over at Patricia's tomorrow? Oh, are you gonna do your Founders Ball this year? And I used to try to correct them. Now I'm just like, yeah. And I just keep walking. I used to just deny, like say, oh, I'm not on that show anymore. But you know what? They show that show, marathon, weekends, perpetuity. New fans come up to me every day. So I just nod my head and say, yes, thank you so much for watching Door to Kitchen.
Well, let me get back to social primer.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Can you edit this?
Sure.
Good, because we can gabble.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Social primer is another term that was never Googleable before I coined it. When I wanted my blog, I wanted it to be. It actually started as an etiquette book, and I was living in LA, and not really happy with being out there, missing the East and the South, and I went and researched all of these etiquette guides in the Beverly Hills Library.
Right.
And everything from George Washington to, of course, Emily Post and Letitia Baldridge, but then there were others in the 30s and 40s, Esquire, and all these books, and I wanted to distill it all into almost like the preppy handbook.
Right.
Just really easy, accessible. And I gave it to I was working on my novel last night at Moomba at the same time, and I was signed with an agent, and that was getting ready to go. And so at the same time, I was like, all right, here I have this outline for this etiquette guide. And she said, great, go write it. And I was like, no, I already wrote one book. You go sell that. This one, go sell this idea. And she said, no, we need your. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go make a blog. And this was in 2006, when a lot of people didn't even know what blog was.
Right.
And she said, oh, don't ever give it away. And I say that was the best advice I never took. Because through blogging, I connected with a completely new audience. I was one of the original menswear bloggers.
Yes.
And through that, I that's where Brooks Brothers came to me. Like it changed the trajectory of my life, actually, of my career, publicly, was Social Primer. And I was like the Dear Abby of wayward men who wanted to know. There were some people who would say, like the sticklers who would say something. And they would go on and on. One of my favorites was some guy who was I'm from the Knickerbocker line of the blah blah, and you're used to that. And I said, you know what? You're exactly the reason I wrote this book, because your type of etiquette is exclusionary to keep people out and embarrassed and off game. That is not what etiquette is for. That is not what being well-mannered is for. Well-mannered is to make someone feel so comfortable in your presence and so my whole goal is to break down those rigid walls that keep people out of wherever they want to go. I mean, I always say you don't have to be rich to live the good life. Just learn the signpost, wear the uniform, act like they want you to act. And then for me, I've been told recently, I feel I may be a little bit of a rabble-rouser, but for years I never was. I was just like, I go from the inside out. Wow. Like, I want to get into a culture. Okay. Like, I want to go in there and know what it's about, and I kind of feel like that's what being well-mannered lets you do, what being well-dressed lets you do, what being well-read lets you do. And the word it just came to me. I was like, what is this? I had a copy of a little primer that my aunt had given to me, a beautiful little old school book, and I always loved the idea of a primer for anything. A lot of people say primer, and I'm pronouncing it wrong. And I said, was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and I say primer. So you can say potato. I don't care. So that was it's a social primer, and now I see it everywhere, more for social media, blah, blah, blah. But that's where that came from. Wow. And that's where that idea came from. And it's sort of in a back burner now. I have a new media strategist. I'm trying to kind of go into a new area that I'm beginning this year. And everyone says, first of all, people don't know what I do. And I always like to ask somebody when I meet them, like, what do you think I do? And they're like, well, I was like, so maybe I should define that a little more. Because I'm not making bow ties anymore. I'm not at Brooks Brothers anymore. I'm not really a designer anymore. I'm not currently writing. I mean, I'm working on another book, and I would love to work on a Charleston version of my Bill of Rights, how to act and not get on my nerves. Basically.
Especially in this town.
But that's sort of where I am, and we can talk about that in the second segment of what my next step is. But the social part, like somebody said, well, is it still active? It's like, it's always there. It's sort of this foundation, that I build everything else off of, but it's not really active right now, so it's there.
Yeah. Let's fast forward, because just recently you joined Layla Gulen on 24 News Now. You call her Divine Layla Gulen.
I love her so much. I just posted a picture of the two of us, hee-hawing.
I saw the little
yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm the regular contributor.
Yes.
We're still trying to figure out my title. When we first discussed it, she said, "Oh, you'll be our fashion correspondent." And I hate to break news here, but there's not really fashion in Charleston. Not in my definition of it. There's style in Charleston. There are few people when we talk about fashion. I studied at the feet of Yves Saint Laurent and Givenchy and Armani and people that were creating something new. Jeffrey Bean for an American. So if you're going to go and twist a lapel and call it fashion, that's not fashion, that's styling. And so I said, to that end, and people are, you're too snobby, and that no one gets that distinction. And I was like, I get that distinction. So I said, let's just do style and entertainment. Entertainment, there's plenty of it. So that's how it began. Even when she introduced me, she's like, the etiquette expert this week, the style maven that week. Last week it was the supernova.
Did you say cut?
Yeah, no, I don't say cut for anything. I'm just like, it will. No one has ever been able, for a long time, to label me. So I think I must be content because I'm still doing it.
How do you define yourself?
How do I define myself? Wow. That's an Oprah question. I define myself I guess the first thing that comes to head is a Christian. And that, in light of other projects, has been a real comfort and focus of my life right now. My cousin Monty said, oh, I've joined the choir at St. Philip's, or oh, I've volunteered. She goes, oh, good, something else that takes all your time and doesn't pay you. That seems to be what I'm really good at. Okay. It's just giving. I follow my passion. Right. I very much do. My brother once told me, my younger brother, who was, done very well in his career, was just like, you are living a fantasy world. And, I was like, I don't, maybe I do. I live in a very content place. Would I like to make more money? Of course. I feel my goal is if I can feed the dogs, I've done well. I'm lucky enough to have family and friends who feed me and invite me places. And I do have a couple of clients that come through in the pinches. But I figure Tennessee famously said through Maggie the cat and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, you can be young without money, but you can't be old without it. And as I start to look at old in the mirror, I decided I don't think I'm going to marry money at this point in my life, because I just can't. Unless it was really big money.
Yeah, you get there.
But no, I'm ready. That's what I'm ready to turn. So what is it? I suppose I'm an artist, first and foremost. Whether it's creating the life I live, or creating work, or creating something, actually creating, I do get a joy out of it that I don't get anywhere else. I'll literally sit down and say, I need to make something. Okay. Whether it's sewing or writing or painting or digging in the ground, or planting, or building. Or, right. I guess first and foremost, I'm an artist, and I'm fearless. Right.
Well, let me fast forward. Write the headline. Cooper Ray will do what next?
Cooper Ray will open a one-man show on the Great White Way in Broadway, singing, maybe dancing, truth-telling, jokes, provocative thoughts. I mean, I just did a play this past summer. I was offered to write a one-man show that I can write till the cows come home, but I wanted to get some performance experience that I haven't done since college.
Opera?
So, where you go?
That's right.
So I went right to the source when the Threshold Theater was offering a Shakespeare workshop for much to do as a writer. That was perfect, and it was amazing. I'm auditioning for another role next week, which is singing and dancing. Wow. Singing, I can do. Okay. Dancing, I can do Funktown, but it's tap, and I haven't tapped since 7th grade, so I've pulled out my tap shoes, and I spent 2 hours trying to learn a step yesterday. That is muscle memory that didn't come as fast to me. I really was getting frustrated, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Yeah.
And of course, now you got the new website coming as well.
I do have the new website just landed. I'm learning that the websites are not as important as they once were. I'm learning there's a lot of changes happening in social media through I have a new strategist at JTE Marketing who's amazing, and Facebook is coming with some changes that's where, particularly from my audience, they're very engaged there. I'm going through changes as we speak. The website is more of like a landing page to send you to my social media, because I really do what I used to blog carefully on my website. I now do every day, all day, whether it's through a curated image on Snapchat, a curated image on Instagram, a steam relief on Snapchat, because that's where I tell my truth. Right. Or essay on Facebook. I don't know. What is next for me is really working with Layla to develop this what to to wear what I'm sort of calling the Charleston way.
Sure.
I want to aim it at new residents and guests as opposed to tourists and transients. And I make that distinction because I want people, I mean, I've had this conversation with everyone from Maurice Washington to Waring, what's his name?
Keith Waring?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
from, to Bakari
Right.
and what's Marlon,
Oh, yeah,
to Pierre Manico. I've
Right.
said, we've got all these people coming in and we can't keep shutting them out. Because and this is what I've said politically to people, you're about to be outnumbered. You're about to lose the votes. So you better start cultivating a lot of new people instead of Charleston tends to close its doors and go very tight into their inner sanctum. Do you find that at all?
Me? I was just listening to you.
But I figured let's bring these people along and say, once you get past the postcard, once you get past and realize Rainbow Row is, a painted building, then what's next for you? What matters in Charleston, and that's where I feel like I'm really well served as someone from off who has spent the majority of my adult life in Charleston now. And I am, confirmed at this church, and I do go to these things. And for me, let's not lose what made Charleston, and that's civility and these traditions. But listen, I'm at that cut. So anyway, so it's for business-wise and branding-wise, I really want to develop this TV segment that hopefully could be syndicated.
Yes.
I would love to I am talking to certain print outlets to do it, to syndicate a column. And so those are what I'm concentrating on right in the immediate future, to kind of say the Charleston way. Let me show you my secrets. Let me show you the places that I love and why I love it. Now, are we at a precipice? Are we still arguing about words on the Calhoun statue? Are there things that we need to discuss? Yes, wholeheartedly and openly. And we can have that another time if you like, a separate conversation, because, I feel completely changing gears here, but I feel that maybe we haven't missed it, but I feel with the horror of Mother Emanuel, the act, and then the love that came out of that and brought so many people together.
Sure.
I feel that it's not a wasted opportunity to move forward on this question of Charleston, race, history, slavery, blah, 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 blah. But it has not been utilized, I think, as good as it could be. I really do. I feel like there's an amazing, rare open door now in Charleston. Now, because of our God, because of our churches, because of our politics, because of our history, because of our respect for each other, there is a door that is unique here that we should rush to open and to talk. And that's another conversation.
Oh, no worries.
That's another conversation we should have.
Sure.
Because I would love to have that one day. I'm multifaceted and love good exploration, which I think keeps the doors open if we try.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Cooper Ray, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
We started this on a Friday, and now it's a Tuesday. We just can't stop talking. I ought to get paid by the word.
Yeah, there you go.
It was my absolute pleasure to meet you,
Likewise.
Quintin, and I've respected you from afar.
Oh, thank you.
Now we're together,
Exactly right.
and we are going to change the world, or at least Charleston. our corner.
Maybe you'll be next mayor.
Will you have me back and we can talk more one day?
Absolutely. That would be great.
Then I'll see you soon.
Thank you.